Hello, in this video we will learn how to multiply and divide rational expressions. So question number 1 is 3 divided by x cubed multiplied by x squared over 6. This can be simplified as follows. Uh, 3 divided by 6 is simply 1 over 2, and x squared divided by x cubed is x. So in the numerator we have 1 multiplied by 1, so that's equal to 1, and in the denominator we have x multiplied by 2, which is 2x, and that would be the answer. In terms of the restriction on the variable, we only have one variable x over here, and as you can see in the denominator we have x, and that x cannot be equal to 0. So in terms of the restriction, we will write that x cannot be equal to 0. Let's look at the next question. In this question, 6x squared is multiplied with y to the power 4, and it is divided by y and 2 times x to the power 5. So let's take a look at the constant terms, 6 and 2. So 6 divided by 2 can be simplified as 3. So we can cancel this as 1 and 3. Now let's take a look at the x squared term and the x to the power 5 term. X squared divided by x to the power 5 will simply be 1 over x to the power 3. So let's cancel that. So this becomes x to the power 3. Now y to the power 4 divided by y is simply y to the power 3. So the answer is 3 times y cubed over x to the power 3, or x cubed. So the restriction in terms of variables in this question would be that we cannot have y equal to 0 and we cannot have x equal to 0, because if that's the case, then the entire rational expression becomes undefined, because we can never have a 0 in the denominator. Let's take a look at the next question. 2x over y, and this is cubed multiplied with y divided by 2x. So one way to simplify this is to expand 2x over y whole cube. Now what is 2 cubed? 2 cubed is simply 8. X to the power 3 is x cubed, and y to the power 3 is y cubed, and then that's multiplied by y and divided by 2 times x. So let's take a look at the numbers first. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so we can write 4 over here, and x cubed divided by x is x squared, so you can cancel this and write x squared over here, and y divided by y cubed is simply 1 over y squared. So 4 multiplied with x squared multiplied with 1 is 4x squared, divided by y squared multiplied with 1 is y squared. So that would be the answer. In terms of the restrictions on the variables, we can see in the original question we have a y in the denominator and we also have an x in the denominator. So for this rational expression to be valid, we cannot have both of these variables equal to 0. So the restrictions that we will have will be that x is not equal to 0 and y is not equal to 0. Let's take a look at the next question. A minus 3 divided by 3 minus a. If you look at the numerator and denominator carefully, you will see that they both have the a term, they both have the 3 term, but the signs are reversed. So as you can see that a is positive in the numerator, a is negative in the denominator. 3 is negative in the numerator and 3 is positive in the denominator. So what we can do is we can take minus 1 as the greatest common factor from the numerator, And when you pull that out, what's remaining inside is 3 minus a. And then the denominator remains the same. That's also 3 minus a. So if you notice, we haven't changed the question over here. If I distribute minus 1 inside this parenthesis, what I will get is minus 1 multiplied by 3 is minus 3, and minus 1 multiplied with minus a is positive a. So we haven't changed the question. But now what you will see is that there is 3 minus a in the numerator, and then 3 minus a in the denominator as well. So when we divide 3 minus a with 3 minus a, obviously we get 1. And so minus 1 multiplied by 1 is minus 1. So that would be our answer. Now, in terms of any restrictions on the variables in this question, obviously we cannot have the denominator equal to 0. So the value of a that makes the denominator equal to 0 is 3. So we cannot have a equal to 3. So that would be the restriction in this rational expression. So in this question, 3x over 10 is divided by x squared over 5. So this is the dividend, and this part, this entire rational expression, is the divisor. And 3x over 10 is the dividend. So we just need to take the reciprocal of the divisor and multiply it with the dividend. So what we will do is 3x over 10, multiply that by 5 over x squared. Now we can simplify this. As you can see that 5 divided by 10 is simply 1 over 2. And you can see x divided by x squared can be written as 1 over x. So in the numerator we have 3 multiplied by 1, which is equal to 3. In the denominator we have 2 multiplied with x, which is equal to 2x. So that would be the answer. So in terms of the restrictions on the variables, there is only one variable over here, and that variable is x in the denominator. So we cannot have x equal to 0. So in this question we have 3 plus 3a over 8, and that is divided by 1 plus a over 4a. So the first part is the dividend, and this part is the divisor. So we just need to take the reciprocal of the divisor and multiply it with the dividend in order to simplify this expression. So 3 plus 3a over 8, and that's multiplied with 4a over 1 plus a. So if you look at the numerator over here, which is 3 plus 3a, the greatest common factor in this term and this term is basically 3. So you can pull 3 out, and then inside the parentheses we will have 1 plus a, and then that's divided by 8, and that's multiplied with 4a over 1 plus a. So now if you look at it carefully, that we have 1 plus a in the numerator and 1 plus a in the denominator. So we can cancel that, because 1 plus a divided by 1 plus a is 1. 4 divided by 8 can be written as 1 over 2. And basically there is nothing else that we can cancel. So we just multiply the terms in the numerator and denominator. So 3 times a is 3a, and 2 times 1 is 2. So that would be our answer. Now in terms of the restrictions on the variables, if we look at the original question, there are two rational expressions. So this part and this part. The restrictions on the divisor are that the denominator in the divisor cannot be equal to 0. So that means 4a cannot be equal to 0. Now we know that 4 is not 0, so that means a cannot be 0. So that's one restriction. When we look at the product of these two rational expressions, we can see that in the denominator we have 1 plus a. So 1 plus a cannot be equal to 0. The value of a that makes 1 plus a equal to 0 is a equal to minus 1. So therefore we cannot have a equal to minus 1. So these are the two restrictions on a. So let's see how we can simplify these rational expressions. So as you can see in the numerator we have x squared plus 2x minus 3, and in the denominator we have x squared plus x minus 2, and that's multiplied with 4x plus 8, and that is divided by x plus 4. So let's first take a look at this part and see how we can factorize this. So x squared plus 2x minus 3 can be rewritten as x squared plus 3x minus x minus 3, and then we can further reorganize this and write it as x times x plus 3, because as you can see in these two terms x is the greatest common factor, and then in these two terms minus 1 is the greatest common factor, so I can write minus 1 times x plus 3. Now you can see that in this term and in this term x plus 3 is the greatest common factor, so I can pull that out. So x plus 3 multiplied with x minus 1. So x squared plus 2x minus 3 can be rewritten as x plus 3 multiplied with x minus 1. Now let's take a look at x squared plus x minus 2 and see how we can factorize that. So x squared plus x minus 2. Now this can be rewritten as x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2. And now we can see that in the first two terms x is the greatest common factor, so we can write x multiplied with x plus 2. In the next two terms minus 1 is the greatest common factor, so I can write minus 1 multiplied with x plus 2. Now you can see that in this term and in this term x plus 2 is the greatest common factor, so I can pull that out, and then we have x minus 1. So these are the two factors of x squared plus x minus 2. Now let's take a look at 4x plus 8. Now 4x plus 8 can be rewritten as 4 multiplied with x plus 2, because 4 is the greatest common factor and you can pull that out, and then we get 4 multiplied with x plus 2. So now that we have factorized 3 of the 4 terms over here, x plus 4 cannot be factorized any further. So now let's rewrite the expression. So the original question can be rewritten as x plus 3 multiplied with x minus 1 over x plus 2 multiplied with x minus 1. So this is the green term, and then multiplied with 4 times x plus 2, and then over x plus 4. Now let's take a look at the numerator and denominator and see if we can cancel any of the terms. So we can see that we have x minus 1 in the numerator over here, and that's divided by x minus 1 in the denominator. So x minus 1 divided by x minus 1 is equal to 1. We can also see that we have x plus 2 in the numerator, and that's divided by x plus 2 in the denominator, so that can also be cancelled. There are no other terms that we can simplify or cancel. So let's multiply the terms in the numerator and denominator. So we have 4 multiplied with x plus 3. So 4 times x plus 3, and that is divided by x plus 4. So that would be the answer. So how can we simplify this expression? X plus 1 divided by x squared minus 5x plus 6, and that's multiplied with x minus 2 over x squared minus 1. So let's take a look at the terms in the denominator and see if we can factorize them. So the first term that I want to take a look at is the x squared minus 5x plus 6 term. So let's see x squared minus 5x plus 6 and see how we can factorize this. So I can rewrite this as x squared minus 3x minus 2x plus 6. In the first two terms, I can take x as the greatest common factor, and then I can write x times x minus 3. In the next two terms, I can take minus 2 as the greatest common factor, and I get x minus 3. So now you can see that in the first term and then the second term, x minus 3 is the greatest common factor. So I'll pull that out. So x minus 3 multiplied with x minus 2. So x squared minus 5x plus 6 can be written as x minus 3 multiplied with x minus 2. Now let's take a look at x squared minus 1. Now x squared minus 1 is the same as x squared minus 1 squared. So we know that a squared minus b squared is equal to a minus b times a plus b. So therefore x squared minus 1 squared can be written as x minus 1 multiplied with x plus 1. So these are the two factors of x squared minus 1. In the numerator, we just have x plus 1 multiplied with x minus 2, and these cannot be factorized any further. So let's rewrite the problem. Now we can say x plus 1, which is this term, is divided by x minus 3 times x minus 2, which is this, and multiplied with x minus 2, which is this term, over, instead of writing x squared minus 1, I'm going to write x minus 1 times x plus 1. Now let's take a look at the terms and see if we can cancel any terms. So let's start with x plus 1. So x plus 1 is in the numerator, and in the denominator also we have x plus 1. So x plus 1 divided by x plus 1, that would be equal to 1. So we can cancel that. Now let's take a look at x minus 2. So we have x minus 2 in the numerator, and we also have x minus 2 in the denominator. So let's cancel that as well. So now let's multiply the terms in the numerator and denominator. So 1 times 1 is 1 over x minus 3 times x minus 1. So we can just write x minus 3 times x minus 1, and that would be our answer. Let's take a look at this question. In this question, we have a squared minus 2a minus 15 over a squared plus 6a plus 8, and that's divided by a squared minus 6a plus 5 over a squared plus 3a minus 4. So this part, this entire part, is the dividend, and this part is the divisor. We know that we have to take the reciprocal of the divisor and multiply it with the dividend. So let's rewrite this as a squared minus 2a minus 15 over a squared plus 6a plus 8, and this is multiplied by the reciprocal. That means we have to flip this, a squared plus 3a minus 4 over a square minus 6a plus 5. So in order to simplify this, we need to factorize each one of these expressions. A square minus 2a minus 15, a square plus 3a minus 4, a square plus 6a plus 8, and then a square minus 6a plus 5. So let's take a look at these individually. So let's try to factorize a square minus 2a minus 15. So this expression can be rewritten as a square minus 5a plus 3a minus 15. In the first two terms, you can take a as the greatest common factor, and then we have a minus 5 inside the parenthesis. In the second two terms, you can take 3 as the greatest common factor, and what we have is a minus 5 in the parenthesis. And then you can see that you can take a minus 5 as the greatest common factor, and then what you have is a minus 5 multiplied with a plus 3. Similarly, let's try to factorize a square plus 6a plus 8. So a square plus 6a plus 8. Now this can be rewritten as a square plus 4a plus 2a plus 8, and then we can take a as the greatest common factor, and then we can take 2 as the greatest common factor, and then we can take a plus 4 as the greatest common factor, and what we have is a plus 4 multiplied with a plus 2. Now let's try to factorize a square plus 3a minus 4. A square plus 3a minus 4. So this can be rewritten as a square plus 4a minus a minus 4. So the greatest common factor is a plus 4, then we can pull out minus 1, and then we have a plus 4 inside the parenthesis, and then you can take a plus 4 as the greatest common factor, and then you get a minus 1. Now let's factorize a square minus 6a plus 5. So a square minus 6a plus 5. So this can be rewritten as a square minus 5a minus a plus 5, and then you can take a as the greatest common factor in the first two terms, and you get a times a minus 5. Then you can take minus 1 as the greatest common factor in these two terms, and then what we have is a minus 5. And then you can pull out a minus 5, and then you have a minus 1 left in the parenthesis. So now that we have factorized all four terms over here, let's rewrite this. So we can write a minus 5 times a plus 3. Instead of a square minus 2a minus 15, we can write a minus 5 times a plus 3. That's what I've written over here. Over a square plus 6a plus 8 can be rewritten as a plus 4 multiplied with a plus 2, and then a square plus 3a minus 4 can be rewritten as a plus 4 multiplied with a minus 1, and then a square minus 6a plus 5 can be rewritten as a minus 5 times a minus 1. Now all we have to do is to cancel the terms that are in the numerator and denominator. So let's take a look at it. We have a minus 5 in the numerator, and we also have a minus 5 in the denominator. So obviously a minus 5 divided by a minus 5 is 1, so let's cancel that. A plus 3 is in the numerator, but we don't have it in the denominator, so we leave that. And then let's take a look at a plus 4. So a plus 4 is in the numerator, and we also have it in the denominator. So let's cancel that. And then we have the a minus 1 term in the numerator and a minus 1 term in the denominator. So let's cancel that as well. So now let's multiply the numerators and denominators. So a plus 1 multiplied with 1 obviously is a plus 3. So a plus 3 multiplied with 1 is a plus 3. And we divide that by a plus 2 multiplied with 1. So we just get a plus 2. So that will be our answer, a plus 3 divided by a plus 2. Question 37. Let's see how we can divide these polynomials, x squared minus 5x plus 6 divided by x plus 2. Dividing the polynomials is very similar to dividing the real numbers. One thing that we have to ensure is that we write the polynomials in the decreasing order of their powers. So basically the x to the power 2 term is followed by the x to the power 1 term, and then it's followed by the constant term. Similarly, in the denominator, we have the highest power of x is x to the power 1, and then that's followed by a constant term 2. So let's write down the divisor outside, and then let's write down the dividend inside. So x multiplied with x will give us x squared, and x multiplied with positive 2 will give us positive 2x. And let's subtract this. X squared minus x squared is 0, and minus 5x minus 2x is minus 7x, and then we get this plus 6. So in order to get minus 7x, we have to multiply this term with minus 7. So minus 7 multiplied with x is minus 7x, and minus 7 multiplied with positive 2 is minus 14. So we have to subtract minus 7x minus 14 from minus 7x plus 6. So minus 7x minus of minus 7x is plus 7x. So minus 7x plus 7x is 0. And 6 minus of minus 14 means 6 plus 14. So that's equal to positive 20. So 20 is the remainder, and x minus 7 is the quotient. So one way to write the answer is this. So x squared minus 5x plus 6 divided by x plus 2 is equal to x minus 7 plus 20 divided by x plus 2. Now let's take a look at question 39. In this we have 4a squared plus 4a minus 12 divided by 2a minus 1. So let's write 2a minus 1 outside, and then inside we will write 4a squared plus 4a minus 12. So we need to get 4a squared. So 2a multiplied with 2a will give us 4a squared. 2a multiplied with minus 1 will give us minus 2a. And now let's subtract this and add this. 4a squared minus 4a squared is 0. And 4a plus 2a is positive 6a. And then this minus 12 can be written like this. Now we have to get positive 6a. We can multiply 2a with positive 3, and that will give us 6a. And positive 3 multiplied with minus 1 will give us minus 3. So now let's subtract 6a and add 3. So this cancels, and minus 12 plus 3 is equal to minus 9. So this is our remainder, and this is our quotient. So the answer is written as 2a plus 3 minus the remainder over the divisor. Let's take a look at question 41. In this we have 2x cubed minus 2x plus 1 divided by 2x plus 4. If you look at it carefully in the numerator, we have the x squared term missing. So we can rewrite this equation as 2x cubed plus 0x squared minus 2x plus 1, and then we can divide that by 2x plus 4. Remember, in division of polynomials, we have to make sure that the polynomial in the numerator as well as in the denominator must be written so that the powers are decreasing by 1, and if there are any missing terms, for example in this case the x squared term was missing, we just put a 0 as the coefficient for that particular term. So now let's try to divide this. Let's write down 2x plus 4 outside, and then inside we are going to write 2x cubed plus 0x squared minus 2x plus 1. So what multiplied with 2x will give us 2x cubed? That would be x squared. So let's write 2x cubed, because x squared times 2x is 2x cubed. Let's multiply x squared with positive 4. That will give us 4x squared. Now let's subtract. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is 0, and 0x squared minus 4x squared is minus 4x squared. Now let's write down the minus 2x term down. Now we want to get minus 4x squared. So what multiplied with 2x will give us minus 4x squared? So if you said minus 4, so what multiplied with 2x will give us minus 4x squared? If you said minus 2x, that is the correct answer. Minus 2x times 2x is minus 4x squared, and minus 2x multiplied with positive 4 will give us minus 8x. So when we subtract minus 4x squared minus 8x from minus 4x squared minus 2x, we need to flip the signs. So let's make them positive. So minus 4x squared plus 4x squared is 0, and minus 2x plus 8x is positive 6x. And now we will have this 1 also written over here. So how can we get 6x? So we need to multiply 2x by positive 3. So let's do that. 3 multiplied with 2x is 6x, and 3 multiplied with 4 is positive 12. So now let's subtract this. 6x minus 6x is 0, and 1 minus 12 is minus 11. So minus 11 is the remainder. So one way to write down the answer will be x squared minus 2x plus 3, which is the quotient, minus 11. 11 is the remainder, divided by the divisor 2x plus 4. So that's the answer. Let's take a look at question 43. A to the power 4 minus 4 is divided by a minus 4. As you can see that in the numerator we have several terms that are missing. So let's rewrite that. So a to the power 4, and then we have 0a cubed, then we have plus 0a squared, and then we have 0a minus 4, and that is divided by a minus 4. So now let's do the long division method. Let's write a minus 4 outside, and then inside we are going to write this entire term, a to the power 4 plus 0a cubed plus 0a squared plus 0a minus 4. So a multiplied with a cubed will give us a to the power 4, and minus 4 multiplied with a cubed is going to give us minus 4a cubed. So now let's flip the signs. So minus plus, so this will be 0, and 0a cube plus 4a cube is simply positive 4a cube, and then we have the 0a squared term over here, so let's copy that. Now in order to get 4a cube, we need to multiply a with positive 4a squared. So we can write 4a cube. Now positive 4a squared multiplied with minus 4 is going to give us minus 16a squared. Now let's flip the signs, minus plus. So 4a cube minus 4a cube is going to give us 0a cube. And then 0a squared plus 16a squared is simply 16a squared. Now 0a cube is simply 0, so why don't I just remove the a cube over here, and let's just keep the term 0 over there. Now let's copy the 0a term over here, which is 0a. Now we have to get 16a squared. So what should we multiply a with so that we get 16a squared? And the right answer is 16a. 16a times a is 16a squared, and 16a times minus 4 is minus 64a. So now let's flip the signs, minus plus. So this term 16a squared minus 16a squared is 0, and 0a plus 64a is simply 64a. So now we have to just copy the minus 4 term over here. So let's get minus 4 over here. Now how can I get 64a? What should we multiply a with so that we get 64a? And the answer is positive 64. So let's write 64a over here, and 64 multiplied with minus 4. Let's do 64 multiplied with 4. That's 16. 1 carry over, and that's 256. So 64 multiplied with minus 4 will give us minus 256. So now let's flip the signs, minus 64, and this becomes plus 256. So 64a minus 64a is 0, and minus 4 plus 256 is positive 252. So that's our remainder, and this is our quotient. So one way to write down the answer is basically equal to, so this entire term, a to the power 4 minus 4 divided by a minus 4 can be rewritten as, or the answer can be written as the quotient, which is a cube plus 4a squared plus 16a plus 64, and then the remainder is written as follows. So we just write plus 252 is the remainder divided by the divisor a minus 4. So this is our answer. Question 44. 2n to the power 4 minus n cubed minus 2n plus 5 is divided by n squared plus 2n plus 1. So the first thing that we have to make sure is that the polynomials in the numerator as well as in the denominator must be written in the decreasing order of their powers, and if there are any missing terms, we need to put a 0 as the coefficient for those terms. So as you can see that in the numerator we have n to the power 4 term followed by n to the power 3 term, and then we have n to the power 1 term. So that means n to the power 2 term is missing. So we have to write 0n square for that missing term. In the denominator we have n to the power 2, and then we have n to the power 1, and then we have a constant term. So no changes are necessary over there. So let's rewrite the question again. So let's write 2n to the power 4 minus n cubed plus 0n square minus 2n plus 5, and that is divided by n square plus 2n plus 1. So now let's do the long division method. N square plus 2n plus 1 can be written outside, and then inside we are going to write the dividend 2n to the power 4 minus n cube plus 0n square minus 2n plus 5. So what should we multiply n square with so that we get 2 times n to the power 4? And the correct answer is 2n square. So 2n square multiplied with n square will give us 2n to the power 4. 2n square multiplied with 2n will give us 4n cube. So let's write positive 4n cube. And then 2n square times 1 will give us positive 2n square. So let's flip the signs. 2n to the power 4 minus 2n to the power 4 is 0. Minus n cube minus 4n cube is minus 5n cube. 0n square minus 2n square is minus 2n square. And then this term will fall down. We'll write minus 2n over here. So now how can we get minus 5n cube? So if we multiply n square with minus 5n, we will get minus 5n cube. Minus 5n when multiplied with positive 2n will give us minus 10n square. And minus 5n multiplied with 1 will give us minus 5n. So now let's flip the signs, make this positive, positive, and positive. So minus 5n cube plus 5n cube is 0. Minus 2n square plus 10n square is going to give us plus 8n square. And 5n minus 2n is going to give us plus 3n. And let's get the positive 5 term over here. So how can we get 8n square? What should we multiply n square with to get 8n square? So the answer is positive 8. So 8 multiplied with n square is positive 8n square. 8 multiplied with 2n is plus 16n. And 8 multiplied with 1 is positive 8. So let's flip the signs, minus, minus, minus. So 8n square minus 8n square is 0. 3n minus 16n is minus 13n. And 5 minus 8 is minus 3. So that will be our remainder. And this is our quotient. So one way to write down the answer is 2n square minus 5n plus 8, and then the remainder is minus 13n minus 3. So one way to write down is plus, and then we have minus 13n minus 3 over the divisor n square plus 2n plus 1. You can also take minus 1 as the greatest common factor and rewrite the answer as 2n square minus 5n plus 8. So that part is the quotient part, and then minus, and if you take minus common, what you will get over here is 13n plus 3, and that is divided by n square plus 2n plus 1.